Welcome to Wellness for Realists. Today in the studio we have Laura Plumb, Ayurvedic Practitioner and Yogi. Laura and her husband Bhavaram also run a school called Deep Yoga in San Diego. We're really excited to have her with us today because she is an expert on Ayurvedic medicine. Thanks for coming in today.
Nice to be here. Thank you, Cristiano.
So regarding the doshas, some people say that often people are attracted to the foods that are the least healthy for their dosha type. Is that true?
It can be true.
Okay.
So what we say in Ayurveda is that like attracts like.
Okay.
Now, like isn't necessarily good or bad. It's just what, the same sort of energies are drawn to attract themselves. So doshas are bioenergies, and what happens is air people are drawn to air activities.
Okay.
Fire people are drawn to fire activities. That isn't a bad thing. Air people are creative, they're innovative, they dance, they move, they're inquisitive, they're innovative. And that is a good thing, right?
Sure.
The problem is, like attracting like, when that creates too much of a wave, too much of a pattern, patterns become like rivers. Rivers can ultimately create a Grand Canyon.
Okay.
And then it's hard to get out of it. If you're at the bottom of that river, the bottom of the canyon, and you want to get to the other side somewhere, it's hard to get out of that river. What happens is, people then would be drawn to foods that are aggravating their dosha.
Sure. Okay.
So they need to eat foods that would balance their dosha.
Okay.
An air person needs to eat warming foods, fire, and they need to eat grounding foods, which is what we call water.
Okay, so if somebody who has a very hot constitution, we want them to eat cooling foods.
Cooling foods, exactly.
Okay, instead
Very
of
simple.
spicy foods that they,
Right.
that they might want.
Right.
Okay, so real quick, so in the urban world, let's talk about the urban world today. There's a lot of chaos, right? Mm-hmm. How does Ayurvedic medicine fit in to busy lifestyles that people have that are living in cities?
Well, as you mentioned, Ayurvedic medicine is very, very old. It's an ancient medicine. It's the oldest comprehensive system of medicine in the world. And as such, it's tried and tested over time. It's proven through millennia. But what's interesting is that I really believe it's more relevant today than ever, because it particularly addresses stress. Ayurveda does a couple of things to address stress. One, it helps you remember your true nature. It helps you remember your unique nature, so that you have your own proportions of the 5 elements, and you understand that. By understanding yourself,
Yes.
you understand very quickly how to bring yourself back into balance.
Sure.
But that understanding is also understanding that you are like nature.
Mm-hmm.
Nature is really a mirror of what you are.
Mm-hmm.
Nature itself is healing. So just remembering that you are nature itself is a healing thought.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
Finally, Ayurveda encourages us to slow down. It's a very nourishing practice. It's not only gives ideas for herbs and for foods and for yoga practices, but ultimately the number one treatment is warm oil massage,
Okay.
which is not just a nice spa day,
Yeah.
for the ladies or the guys,
It sounds great.
but it's actually something that is done in ancient tradition for 5 days at a time, 7 days at a time, 14 days at a time, where you go stay in a quiet place in a rural area and you get 3 hours of warm massage. You get completely nurtured. And that nurturing helps the body release toxins, release stress, release illness, release negative patterns, release the attracting like patterns that we have developed.
Sure.
And that's a very nurturing way to heal.
Absolutely.
That is the best response to stress. I truly believe that everyone in America, what everyone needs more than anything is nourishment.
Absolutely.
Nurturance.
Yes.
Not more food and
Sure.
not more stuff, but true nourishment.
For the spirit, for the body, everything.
Emotionally, everything.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. All right. So another question: What brought you here to this practice of Ayurveda and yoga? What's your story?
When you ask me that, it's a little difficult to answer. I feel like I was born for it. I just feel like the minute I found out about Ayurveda, some part of me just aligned with it and said, yes, this is truth. Because I was with the Discovery Channel before. I was
Oh.
a general manager of the Discovery Channel Europe.
Okay.
So I was based in London for a long time. And one of the things that I kept commissioning was programs about complementary medicine, ancient traditions, ancient healing systems, shamanism. I produced a series on shamanism.
Okay.
And I was always interested in it. So the minute that Ayurveda really entered fully into my life, I realized I kind of been looking for it all my life.
Okay.
And it just made sense.
You were called to it, basically.
I felt called to it.
Maybe it found
Certainly.
you.
I hope so. Hope I'm found.
Very good. So if a patient comes to see you,
Yeah.
right? Tell us, is there a protocol? What does that look like? Are they going to see you, 3 times a week for 7 months, or what does it look
In
like?
terms of protocol.
Protocol and just everything, the basics.
So there's two answers to that. The first answer is more philosophical. The philosophy of Ayurveda is that every single human being is unique. We're individuals. So we have this universal spirit, you could say, but we're individual expressions of that. We seek to meet the individual exactly where they are and treat them exactly as they are. And so the very first thing we're going to do is we're going to meet and learn about one another. And that's a really important part of Ayurveda, is just to spend some time learning where this person is in terms of not just what their dosha is, but how they got to this place of potential imbalance. If they're coming to see me, I presume there's some imbalance.
Sure, most likely.
Then we're going to design a program based on what their needs are.
Okay.
So that might mean generally 3 to 4 sessions to begin.
Okay.
Maybe that's all that's needed. And again, as with most systems of natural medicine, we're seeking to educate and empower. So we want to encourage the person to not need us at a certain point.
Yes.
3 to 4 sessions sometimes is all it takes.
Okay.
But we have people who come see us week after week for a year because it helps them build momentum and build the momentum they need to not only make change,
Yes.
but to make really lasting change.
Okay,
They feel
and
supported in that.
Okay, not to interrupt you, just curious about the change they're going to make. Are you going to incorporate herbs, diet, yoga? What does it depend on the person? I'm going to look for questions from our audience while you answer that.
Okay, great.
Okay.
Well, so then why don't I speak to your audience and answer that?
Yeah, perfect.
Because a lot of people ask about Ayurveda. A lot of people think it relates just to food. In fact, I have a food blog, so I've probably helped to promote that. But food is one of the tools that we have. We also have herbs. We have exercise. We have lifestyle. We also have a lot of emotional tools to help the person emotionally. Ayurveda absolutely believes that emotions, mind, and mental therapies are part of whole person wellness.
Of course.
And so we want a person not just to be physically well, but emotionally and mentally, spiritually well as well.
Excellent.
So there are a whole number of modalities, and including addressing a person's work, relationship, where they're living. We're really looking at the whole picture.
Sure. Very interesting.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
It's very interesting. So we have a question from our audience here.
Great.
This is from Christine Tully Aranza in Chicago. She Facebooked in, and her question is, I would love to know more about dominant and subordinate typing. If you are dealing with dual doshas, how do you work with that? Always found it harder to understand what to do when the doshas blend. So it's a little more of a technical question, but...
It's a great question, Christine, and I'd like to say hello to Chicago. That's where I'm from, and it's nice to hear from you. I feel like most of us are dual dosha, or even tri-dosha. We are all 5 elements.
Sure, okay,
And so we are
interesting.
all 3 doshas. The doshas also mean bioenergies. And all bioenergies are necessary for life to function well. The bioenergy of Vata is movement, and we have circulation, we have thoughts, we have the breath, breathing in and breathing out. That flow is essential.
Sure.
We have Pitta, which is helping with digestion and metabolism, the fact that we can think and metabolize our thoughts. And then, of course, Kapha gives us structure, bones, also the water in our body.
Okay.
So what you have to look at is what do the doshas have in common? For instance, Christine, if you were Vata Pitta, I don't know because I don't know you, but you would have, what would Vata Pitta have in common? They're light, they're subtle. So you need more grounding. You need the water element. So you just think that way. If you are Vata Kapha, for instance, they run cold.
Okay.
A lot of people think Vata Kapha have nothing in common. Vata is light, it's air, Kapha is water, it's heavy. But what they have in common is they both need fire. They need to be warmed up, they need to be concentrated. Kapha needs that dynamism of the fire.
Okay, very good, great.
Yeah.
And we just have about another minute left here. Can you give us a quick 1-2 on your blog, which is also your book?
Thank you for asking.
Of course.
So I really wanted to share this concept in Ayurveda that food is love. Food comes from the concept of Satchitananda, and not to go into too much technical detail, Satchitananda is like the soul or the animating intelligence that gives life to all it is. And it has these 3 parts that give air, fire, water. Air, fire, water giving life, light, and love. That water element relates to the love element. And so food, it's not just that I love food or we should all love food, but that food is really nature, Mother Nature, we call it Mother,
Sure.
loving you. It's her gifts of love. And if we really understood that, I think we might change our relationship to food.
Okay.
We wouldn't just grab and shove it down our mouths.
Sure.
We would sit, we might meditate, we might pray. We might cultivate a more sacred relationship with food that would make us healthier.
I agree.
And the world healthier.
Excellent.
So ultimately, this blog is about nourishment. It's about offering nourishment to your audience, to the readers. It's full of recipes primarily,
Okay.
but it's also got various suggestions. It's got articles about doshas, elements, seasons, and how to live accordingly.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
Thank
Thanks
you,
for coming in
Cristian.
today.
Delight.
Yeah, we really appreciate it.
Appreciate you.
Thank you. For more Wellness for Realists, be sure to subscribe to us at emPOWERme.tv. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, and you can find me at acupuncturebychristian.com.